Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy George Michael Perez, aka GMike. Y'all already know what it is, baby. Back with another episode of the G Perspective, coming to you live, baby. Before we get into it, please follow me on my socials at George Mike Perez on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at GMike Media _. And then the podcast, the audio version itself, is available on all podcast platforms under the G Perspective, and obviously on YouTube. This episode, we got an exciting episode for you guys. We go over the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals wild card matchup and their results there. We go to the divisional round and the two games yesterday that were played. I'm filming this on Sunday, so the two games yesterday that were played for the AFC and NFC, and then the two games today that will be played for the AFC and NFC. I got two reoccurring guests coming on, Austin Dillingham and my boy Ernie Diaz, coming to talk all that Raven talk. Two big-time Ravens fans, so they got a lot to say about what happened and what will happen in the future to come for Baltimore, and obviously the NFL playoffs, what we get into. So please subscribe, like, share with your friends, or even write in the comments, talk your shit. But let's get it. My boys, Ernie, Austin, how y'all doing, man?
I've been better.
Thanks for having me on.
I love it. The boys say I've been better, and it accumulates to what we're going to be talking about today, but we got a few things going on. The wild card round for the NFL playoffs is over, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the divisional round, and yesterday 2 games have been popped off and come to the final result. We'll go over that and 2 more games going on today. And as you know, my Dallas Cowboys playing primetime 8:15. That's why I'm wearing this hat, baby. So we on and popping. But yeah, but before we get into that, we're gonna get into other few things. And I just want to apologize to you guys because I know you two are big time Baltimore Ravens fans. A great team, honestly. Every single year since Lamar Jackson has been there, has been a successful season up to a point, but still a successful season. So I just want to give my apologies to you guys. The Baltimore Ravens lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, divisional rival, 24-27, and they lost on a crazy fourth quarter ending. And we'll get into that a little later. But first, I'm gonna start off with Ernie here. Ernie, how you feeling, man, about this result, bro?
You see the look on my face? Listen. The week before the playoffs, we had our third string quarterback in there. We committed 4 turnovers, including a fumble in the end zone, and we lost by 10 points. So obviously, any Raven fan with hindsight was positive looking into the first round matchup. And I don't know what possessed someone to call a quarterback sneak from the 3-yard line that led to the play that I'm even going to talk about. I think Chuba Hubbard is still running to the end zone, but I mean, it was a tough way to go. The team played well. I can't hate on them for the way they played. I think Tyler Huntley might have had the game of his life. He played really well. He controlled the ball. He didn't make any stupid mistakes except for that one that ultimately cost the game. But I can't hate on the guys. The defense played phenomenal. Most of that defense will be back next year, so that's something to look forward to. And then, in the offseason, our main focus is obviously getting Lamar back, but the pieces are there as far as the O-line, the running game goes. Obviously, you want to maintain that quarterback. Receiver room has to be worked on, but overall, I think it was a really good effort by the guys. It really was.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a good effort for you guys. But before we keep going a little more, Austin, tell me how you felt about it, man.
To echo Ernie's sentiment, it's a championship level defense. We just got to get the offense up to snuff. The only signing big piece of the offense I think we're going to lose out on in free agency is Ben Powers. Ben Powers is one of the best guards in football. Up there, I think he was tops in PFF ranks in terms of pass protection. Hell of a run blocker as well. So he earned himself a good payday. But we got the guys like Ben Cleveland, like Filele, that might be able to fill that spot and offset some of that production that he's going to be leaving behind. Got to remodel the receiver room. It was encouraging to hear finally from somebody inside the front office, like Eric DaCosta, say to the fans in a press conference that yes, this wide receiver room is not up to standard. So we got to redo that. We got to we're committed to Lamar. I mean, John Harbaugh echoed that sentiment, saying that he's 200% sure that he's going to be here next year. I don't know if that is going to be a franchise tag. I hope it's not, personally, because the guy deserves his money. So that is yet to be seen. He's still getting paid $45 million, $50 million if he signs that exclusive free agent tag. So he's getting a payday next year regardless. I just think that he deserves that type of long-term commitment from this organization. And I just think that with everything that's been done with firing of or mutual parting of ways of Greg Roman, the commitment or the outward support that the Ravens have shown Lamar in these press conferences, and what Lamar has been saying on Twitter, on Instagram, posting those stories of him in the Ravens jersey. I think that's all very encouraging stuff. So brighter days are ahead. I think we got a good roster still. That's always going to be the case with the Ravens. We're going to draft well. We're going to pick good free agents. We just got to model that, wide receiver room and really take this offense to that next level and really give Lamar the weapons that he has deserved throughout his entire career up to this point.
Yeah, the Ravens are always going to be a team that's above the top 15 teams in the NFL. I feel like it's never going to go downhill from there.
Yep.
But just sticking with the game against the Cincinnati Bengals, like you guys mentioned, Lamar Jackson did not play. The backup quarterback, Tyler Huntley, replaced Lamar, and he threw for 226 yards, which was more than Joe Burrow in that game, if I might add. 17
Say it louder for the
completions.
people in the back, Jordan.
I'll say it one more time. More than Joe Burrow in that
Thank
game.
you. Appreciate that.
17 completions, 2 TDs, 1 interception, and then the one costly fumble that he ran it in, tried to run it in on a QB sneak on the 1-yard line. It got stripped for 99 yards and a TD.
Hubbard still running. Yeah.
Yep, like he's mentioned, he is still running right now. Sticking with that play, right? Because the whole game, the running game in the first half was obsolete. It was awesome. You guys were doing work. You guys were putting your foot on their necks and making them feel it. Second half comes, you guys shy away from that a little bit. And it's like you got J.K. Dobbins. He has 62 yards on 13 carries. You give this man 2 more carries, and you probably win that game. Do you think it was a good decision? I'll start over with you, Ernie. Do you think it was a good decision for the Ravens to do the QB sneak? Or maybe they should have gave it to J.K. Dobbins, who was doing work in the beginning of the game and a little bit in the second half, and maybe he could punch it in for a touchdown.
See, I like what you do. You're good at your job because you're setting me up with these questions to get me upset. Obviously, the right thing to do would be to give it to your 2 plow horses, which your offense is currently based around. Okay. In his entire tenure with the Baltimore Ravens, J.K. Dobbins has not carried the ball more than 15 times, which is absolutely insane. That comes down to coaching. That comes down
also
to
when he led the league in yards per carry. His first year as a starter.
Yeah, like it's insane. Like the guy has never touched the ball more than 15 times. And if you want to say you want to keep him healthy, he's coming off the knee injury. I get all that. How about you give it to the other horse in Gus Edwards, Gus the Bus, baby. I love that guy. That guy, I think, touched the ball maybe 3 times the entire game. 3 times. And then the quarterback sneak, apparently, what John Harbaugh said in his press conference was the call was for Snoop to go under. Snoop decided to go over the top. Snoop being Tyler Huntley, for those who don't know. He was supposed to go to the bottom instead of going over the top. But I agree with JK's sentiment after the game. That should have never been on Snoop in the beginning. I want the ball. I'm the bell cow back. People forget what J.K. Dobbins was at Ohio State. People forget, like Austin mentioned, what J.K. Dobbins was his first year. Sure, he's coming off a bad knee injury, but he's shown you this year that he can run the ball hard. He can run the ball consistently. And with Lamar out, with the exception of Mark Andrews, he's probably our best offensive player. So why not put your best offensive weapons, especially your running back, who, by the way, had a hell of an effort from a quick swing pass in that game. Full extension for the touchdown. He was able to find the end zone. Why not go back to that guy on the 1-yard line? It makes no sense to me. I think John Harbaugh, I think Eric DeCosta, I think Steve Bisciotti looked at that play, and at that moment, they decided they were done with Greg Roman. I really feel like that was the moment they decided
Facts.
that they were done with him.
Facts. Say
The
it.
the
Say
mutual
it.
the mutual parting is a very classy way of the organization to split because let's be real, Greg Roman did great things in Baltimore. Um, him and Lamar will be synonymous with success, especially after that 2019 season. But sometimes a change is needed. A different voice needs to be heard. Different offense needs to be implemented. I think that on that faithful fourth down, fourth quarter, on that play, on 3rd and 1, I think that's when officially Greg Roman lost his job.
Yep. Yep. And I agree entirely with that whole statement right there. Austin, what you got, man?
I mean, we go back to really the first time that I remember a like a running option system being implemented into a NFL game plan. I believe it was like with Ronnie Brown and Ricky
Oh,
Williams and the Miami
wow.
Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
And with
2007.
the Wildcat. And with all of these systems, Greg Roman's system in particular, it takes these NFL defenses about a year, 2 years maybe, to adapt to the offense that you're running. And that has been apparent with the Baltimore Ravens over the past 2 seasons. The NFL defenses have adjusted to the run, they have adjusted to this system. So we just like all Ravens fans were calling for was just some more, some more passing plays, some more just traditional running plays, not using the quarterback as much. Just use the running backs. The running backs, I was tweeting this throughout the entire wildcard game. The running backs will win us this game. We got two of the best running backs in the NFL. And I'm saying that with confidence with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Gus
100%.
is 100% 5 yards guaranteed every single time he touches the rock. He falls forward 5 yards every single time he touches the rock. J.K. Dobbins can break it. I mean, we saw in the first game against Pittsburgh, he had that 140-yard run that he was supposed to break that off, but he didn't. I mean, that you could tell that his knee was still not 100% as of yet, but he was still able to break a 50, 40-yard run just like that. And still kind of get it down to like 5 yard line. But his speed got back to him over the last few weeks of the season, and that one swing pass that he had that he took to the end zone just showed the amount of heart that a guy like J.K. Dobbins has, and the fact that he stretched out like that and got it into the end zone, and just you don't give him another carry within the 15-yard line beyond that is just beyond me. And goes back to that tweet that Hollywood had after the end of last season. What's the point of having soldiers if you ain't going to use them? And that was very apparent this season as well. I'm glad that JK finally spoke up and spoke out against what the play calling had been throughout the game and throughout the entire season. I think that a guy like him, a young stud, speaking out against play calling like that definitely gets the front office's attention. That definitely got Sky's attention. And I just hope that what we do in terms of hiring an offensive coordinator, definitely supplements that the slight that these guys have felt in this offense, because putting the ball in the hands of Tyler Huntley with the season on the line, I couldn't believe what I'd seen. Like I was on cloud nine thinking that, because when Snoop broke that option run to get it into the end zone, I thought that it was in the bag. Like the hay was in the barn, as Sandusky said. We were about to go 24-17, and ain't no way Joe Burrow was about to score on that defense, because we were shutting his ass down, shutting those receivers down, and they weren't doing nothing. And I thought that that win was pretty much guaranteed if Huntley was able to get in there. But unfortunately, we saw, and it's actually kind of poetic, because I believe Lamar had that play happen to him. What was it against was it against the Bengals or somebody? He had a play like that where he jumped over and the ball got stripped from. Was it against the Titans, maybe?
Might have been the Titans.
Yeah, it might have been the Titans. But just the fact that you go up over the top from the 3 yard line is just beyond me. And like, it was just a weird game. There was so many things, like down to the final snap with the Hail Mary and the ball just going off of the fingertips of James Prochet, the most mediocre receiver, maybe in NFL history, is just such a poetic ending to the Ravens season.
But
It just everything came to a head.
I can't speak for Austin, but all us Raven fans were so excited for Prochet to be wide receiver 3 this year.
Oh.
After Bateman and Duvernay, we're like, that's the guy. That's the missing link. We don't need to go get somebody. And now I'm more hyped for Andy Isabella than I am for James Prochet coming back.
I was
That
sold
you
a
know
bill
why.
of goods. I was sold
Yeah.
a bill of goods that James
Yeah.
Prochet was actually an NFL receiver as well. I just can't believe how much we were duped on that front.
Yeah, man. Like there's a statistic out there, right? When you're on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, that the QB sneak works like 80% of the time, right? But in this situation, man, I don't care what excuse you got. You got a back in J.K. Dobbins. Yes, he got a messed up knee. That's a valid excuse to use, but still, 1 yard, bro. Nah, man, this guy
There
is
was a
too big of a back. I would have gave
there
him
was
the
a
ball,
play
100%.
there's a play in this game where they even had Mark Andrews try a 3rd and 1.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah, I remember.
I would have taken honestly, I would have taken that. I would have taken Greg in his bag, like they say, doing that over what I saw. But it is what it is, man. And
they
honestly,
handed it off to the guy at a shotgun.
Yeah, I
like
saw. Yeah,
At a shotgun.
that's another thing. You line up for 1 yard. Hey, let's back up 5 yards. Let's get in a shotgun position to run a. It sounds like Madden. Let's run a halfback zone.
yeah.
Let's do it.
That's it. That's an issue I've been having with football as a whole. When did we like implement the shotgun in our goal line packages? Like when did that start being a thing? Like I never understood it.
When QB started being more efficient than running backs, I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
And that's
I mean, you
that's
want
that's
if you
that's recent. That's like, well, maybe like late 2000s, early 2010s.
definitely,
Yeah, I
definitely,
don't even think it's that long ago. So, but
definitely.
you mentioned Austin. I'll just stick with you right here. You mentioned the firing of offensive coordinator Greg Roman. I'm sorry, and like I think we all agree with that decision right there, especially after that last
Mhm.
play call that made you lose the game. But do you have anyone in mind? And we talked about this a little earlier before we started the show. But do you have anyone in mind that you would want to hire next?
Well, right off the cuff, I wanted Bobby Petrino. I mean, he was the head coach for Lamar at Louisville. Ran that pro style that earned Lamar a eventual Heisman Trophy, and following up with his next season, that was his best statistical season in college. And he has got a great rapport with the guy, but he unfortunately took the job at A&M as the offensive coordinator, and I don't think we're going to be able to pry him away from Jimbo that easily. But in terms of NFL guys, I would think that the best way to go would definitely be somebody who is from the offensive tree, like the Shanahan coaching tree, that's just having so much success in the NFL wherever it is being implemented, like that type of offense, that type of scheme. So my first choice would probably be Bobby Slovic, the passing game coordinator for the 49ers. I'm salivating at the thought of Lamar Jackson in a offense that looks like the San Francisco 49ers. If we were to go in-house, I'm hesitant to give a guy like T. Martin the job because he's the wide receivers coach. And what kind of production have we been getting out of our wide receivers over the past couple of years while T. Martin has been that guy? It's a little bit to be desired. So in terms of that, I just hope we get somebody fresh. I hope we get somebody young. I hope we get somebody who is just who's going to oppose Harbaugh if they have a an idea being conflicting with each other, because all Greg Roman and John Harbaugh did during their tenure was just feed each other's egos, in my opinion. And that 2019 year, because we had so much success, I just think Roman was riding the coattails of that. And it was just Harbaugh had faith in his friend. I mean, they're best friends outside of the facility. He just thought that he would get it right eventually. And really that loyalty just, really drove a lot of Ravens fans against Harbaugh this year. I mean, I was calling for his job as well. And
A lot of you were.
it could be said that Lamar saved Harbaugh's job back in 2018, because after 17, the mediocrity that Joe Flacco was putting on this organization over those 2015 to 17 years, I mean, it was pretty much like okay with being 8-8. That was pretty much John Harbaugh's thing. I mean, he's always been the cool, calm, collected leader of men, the general of the army. He'll never get too high, he'll never get too low. He's just a good, steady voice in the locker room. And when you're losing, when you're going 8-8, you're competing for that 15th spot in the NFL draft. That message grows stale very quickly, and that was kind of the case this year as well. But I'm just hoping that we get some kind of just innovation because, and I'm glad that we addressed that Lamar is going to have input in the offensive coordinator hiring, because I think that's a very smart move. It's a good act of faith to show your franchise quarterback that you have trust in him to have his input in this type of decision, because I mean it's his offense at the end of the day. But I just think that if we get somebody young and fresh, somebody who Lamar actually wants to work with, and not he's forced shoehorned in to offense like a Greg Roman. I think I don't really care what the name is. I just give you somebody who Lamar enjoys, who that'll keep him in Baltimore for the longest time.
Yeah, yeah. Ernie, you got any thoughts on who you want as your next offensive coordinator?
Man, I'm just happy that Greg's gone. Honestly, I feel like I've been calling for that for so long. Ravens have, and it's not to, again, I don't want to hone in on Greg Roman, because I do think Greg Roman has done some things really well. Obviously, he led a team to the Super Bowl, who lost to the Ravens, by the way. But with the 49ers, he helped vamp that offense. He helped vamp our offense. But a lot of, like Austin says, it felt like he was resting on his laurels from the 2019 season, and he was kind of riding that high of that success. Some names that he mentioned, I heard about the 49ers passing game coordinator. That would be phenomenal, because I don't know, when you watch a 49ers game, and hopefully it doesn't happen against your Cowboys, but when you watch a 49ers game, it feels like everybody's open. It feels like everyone's open all the time. People make a big deal about Brock Purdy, and I get it. He's a rookie, the last pick. He's doing what he's supposed to do, and it's hard in the NFL, going through your checks, reading blitz packages, things of that nature. But when it comes to delivering the ball, he's not throwing to the tightest of windows. Like, these dudes are wide open. And when you break down some Ravens film, you see that a lot of these guys are running in routes or level routes, but they're all on the same side of the field, and it's frustrating. Is it that the scheme is wrong? Is it that the guys aren't getting open? Which I agree with Austin. That's why it puts me a bit hesitant as far as T. Martin goes. Obviously, being someone of color, you would love to see people get hired within, get the opportunity. I think in a perfect scenario, you would put T. Martin as the offensive coordinator, upgrade Pep Hamilton to quarterbacks coach, and now you're building a pipeline for guys to come out. But if you're interested in winning, what does T. Martin really do? I guess he's an inside voice. I guess he has Lamar's trust. I do know one thing. The Ravens are going to outsource the hire. The Ravens are going to interview a lot of people. I've seen some pages talk about, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I just want people to remember that the Ravens interviewed 22 different offensive coordinators before they ultimately ended up hiring Gary Kubiak back in the day. So necessarily interviewing a bunch of people isn't a bad thing. I think quite the contrary. Interview as many people as you have to. Make sure Lamar's in these interviews. Make sure Lamar's giving you that input. And ultimately go with where you want to go,
Yeah, yeah. And just sticking with you right now for this next question before we move on to the divisional round, what is one piece or a few pieces, whatever you want to add, that you really want for the Baltimore Ravens next season?
Well, we spoke a little bit about it before. Well, I'll put it this way. The last time the Baltimore Ravens traded with the Arizona Cardinals for a receiver before the season began was Anquan Bolden. We all know how that worked out. Mm-hmm. After Lamar Jackson, getting him signed, after hiring an offensive coordinator, I fully feel, and I don't know if the Ravens will do this, because the Ravens are big on keeping their drafts. They don't like to trade away their drafts. So this is what that's going to require. But I'm calling the Arizona Cardinals, who are in disarray right now, I'm calling them and seeing what they want for DeAndre Hopkins. Absolutely. That should be – all of these quarterbacks are being fairly evaluated after they get major receiver help. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, Derek Carr with Devontae Adams, whatever you may say. Do not critique Lamar Jackson. until you give him a number one receiver, a true number one, not someone who's 5'9" in Hollywood, which I love and he loves, but it's not a true number one receiver. Mm-hmm. Give us DeAndre Hopkins, see what happens, and I guarantee you Lamar will be in the running for the MVP next year.
Yeah, no, that would be a great pickup. DeAndre Hopkins going to the Ravens. What you think, Austin?
I'm telling you, we have rapport with the Cardinals. We've done it before. It's worked out for us. Why not again?
I think that kind of trade will come down to draft day, just because with the 22nd pick, I think that is as early in the draft as somebody would be willing to, part with that first round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the guy's, what is he, 31 years old, I believe. So he's towards the tail end of his career, but Anquan Bolton was even older than that. I believe he was about 33, 34 when we traded for him. So I think based on what receiver is going to be in play at 22, I believe will in the end what comes down to this decision. I mean, hey, if we want to trade away second round pick in 2024, maybe third round pick this year, and the Cardinals able to come off DeAndre Hopkins for that kind of package to offload some salary, then by all means, bring Nuke to Baltimore for that kind of package. I'm all for it. And draft Jackson Smith and Jigba at number 22. That would be the most ideal scenario for sure. Because I've seen a lot of mocks giving us Smith and Jigba at the 22 spot. I don't personally think that he's going to be there that late just because of the talent that he is. I get that he was hurt this year, so maybe that's why he's sliding. But me personally, I believe he should be a top 15 pick. I think he's honestly better than Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison went to Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams, and did he break out necessarily more than he did with Kenny Pickett? I don't think he did. So that's kind of giving me pause for concern, and also his height. I think Addison is a guy who's like 5'10", smooth 180. Smith and Jigba is 6 feet tall, 210, an NFL built wide receiver. So everybody's for Nuke. Everybody's for somebody in the draft. I personally wouldn't mind seeing an Allen Lazard in Baltimore as well. Aaron Rodgers has been outspoken about him in terms of Lazard being a consummate pro, always keeping his head down, always accepting whatever job he is given by the offense. In a certain play, whether that is run blocking, whether that is coming up with a big grad. Does he come up with them all the time? Not necessarily. So he's not a number one. I would like to see Lazard in Baltimore as a number 3 option behind Rashad Bateman, behind somebody else, whoever that is. I don't believe that Lazard is a number 1 in Baltimore, and I think that would just be another year of Lamar having underachieving weapons if that was the case. I think we got options here. I think that I've even heard that Hollywood Brown being on his last year of his deal technically in Arizona would be a bad reunion.
Bring him back, man.
But again, we need a guy who is that bona fide number 1, and DeAndre Hopkins is that. He has been that for the entirety of his career, so he's obviously number 1 on the shopping list. And maybe we can come up on a Jackson Smith and Jigba. He would be my number 1 wide receiver target in this upcoming draft, behind Quentin Johnson, of course, but he's going top 10. So that's not necessarily plausible. Also, on the back end of the draft, I'm hearing a lot of talk about this guy Raheem Jarrett, right, out of Maryland. He was an absolute stud this year from the area, from Bethesda, I believe. And he's projected a day 3 guy in about the 4th or 5th round. And what I pray that if we have the opportunity to draft that kid, I hope we do, because he is a big time, speed burner. And he's also like a 6'1", 200-pound build. And I'm seeing shades of Stephon Diggs in my head. And we let him get away. In the 4th round. Ravens had the opportunity to draft him. They went a different direction. Vikings ended up claiming him, and Stephon Diggs is who he is now. So I just hope that we don't let a hometown, guy like that slip away from us. I think we got to take at least 2 receivers in this draft, get 1 receiver in free agency, whether that's by a trade or by signing. We got to get at least 3 new guys in that room to go alongside Bateman and Duvernay, who are really the only guys in that room that have secured jobs, in my opinion, to this point.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, bro, I need the Ravens to give Lamar some freaking weapons, man, because it's just like everyone's saying how Lamar is good. There's 2 sides of the spectrum with Lamar, right? There's one side that says like Lamar is great, which we're all part of that side, and then the other side of the spectrum that they say Lamar is ass. And I look at that side of the spectrum, I'm like, you guys are not watching football. You guys are not watching this guy play because he does spectacular things with his feet and with his arm and with his mind because his IQ is out of this world.
I'm going to play devil's advocate though, but in like the sense that like some people are saying that he's injury prone. I don't think that's the case. He's gotten injured the last 2 years inside the pocket trying to evade a sack. So they're both fluke injuries. Like if it happens 3 years in a row, okay, we're kind of seeing a pattern here. But a lot of guys have gotten injured like 2 years in a row and bounce back after that.
It's football, bro. It's football. People get injured all the time.
Contact sport, baby. And like I get the fact that like he has these just bonehead plays where like in the Giants game, he just made play after play like this, where he was throwing deep to Patrick Ricard on a 3rd and long. And it's like, he's making those bonehead decisions because he's got nobody better to throw to. Like all of his receivers are clumped like in the corner of the opposite side of the field, and Patrick Ricard's the only guy who's in front of him. Of course he's going to throw there on a 3rd and 12 to try to save the game. He's got nowhere else to go. And it's like give him actual weapons, and then I believe he won't feel that much pressure on him, because it's been evident over the past 2 years the amount of pressure that this kid feels running this offense week in and week out when he's healthy. It's a complete night and day experience from what we saw in his first few starts in 2018 and the entire season throughout 2019. Like you just see the pressure that he feels, and I hope that when we do get some actual weapons for him this year, hopefully, that people can see the good side of Lamar, like all of us Ravens fans and optimistic, ball knowers do at the end of the
day. Yeah. Hey, man, it's just that, like, at one point in the season, I think that people were saying that Likely was going to be the number 1 target for Lamar. And I'm just like, yo, it's crazy as hell to say that. Like, dude, like, you get this guy, a receiver that's going to go up and catch the ball every single time, or at least give you a high percentage of catching the ball. Like, him throwing to these wide receiver 2, 3s, 4s, like, it's not going to do the job of winning the damn game. Like, you got to give him some weapons, bro.
Real quick, before we move on, just a quick stat out there. If you look at the Ravens offense before Rashad Bateman went down and after, that's where you see the precipitous drop-off. So Rashad Bateman, I think, is a very talented individual. I think he's a very talented receiver. He's been in the league, I think, this is going to be his 4th year. He's been hurt twice, so definitely availability is the best ability is a thing for him. But I do want to, playing devil's advocate, this year, the Ravens offense, I mean, that Miami game, apart from the result, was an absolute beauty to watch. And, we'll see going next year, man. Duvernay, Bate, Mark Andrews, you had a couple guys in there. Full steam ahead.
Yeah. Bateman having 2 foot injuries is definitely concerning.
Worrisome.
But, and he's got the speed, that's for sure. He's got the big game.
He's so fast,
got the big game ability. That breakaway that he had from Xavier Howard, like I didn't even realize that he had burners like that. To be honest,
he is fast, man.
Yeah, he is
crazy.
It's just like the fact that people were saying 4th round rookie tight end Isaiah Likely about to be the top pass catcher for a former NFL MVP. Like it's
from Coastal Carolina, baby, bro. Blue Turf Fields.
Hey, love me some Likely, but golly, we gotta hold ourselves to a higher standard here, Baltimore Ravens. Like,
man,
what happened to this offense?
So hopefully in the off season, you guys make some moves. That DeAndre Hopkins, that would be fire. That would be fire for the Ravens.
Cure what ails us. That's for sure.
And moving on, man, to the divisional round. So yesterday,
the real football. Yeah.
So Kansas City Chiefs play the Jacksonville. The Kansas City Chiefs play the Jacksonville Jaguars at 4:30, and the New York Giants played the Philadelphia Eagles at 8:15 last night. The Chiefs beat the Jaguars 27-20 to advance to their fifth AFC championship in a row. Wow, man. Hey,
Boy,
and
Mahomes are proud.
just watching the game, man, like after Patrick Mahomes got injured in the end of the first quarter, and if you guys didn't see it, I'm pretty sure you two did. But for the fans out there that didn't see it, it looked like it was gonna be a terrible knee injury. It looked like he was gonna be done for the playoffs and maybe all of next season. That's what it looked like. But he came back in the game managed the game, and still made ridiculous throws. I don't know if you saw that one throw that he looked like he was about to get sacked. He ran up the middle and he just threw it into the end zone to Marquise Valdez. Yo, crazy throw, crazy throw.
Yeah.
What you guys think about that game? Austin, I'll start with you. What you think about that game?
I mean, it's mind-boggling that Patrick Mahomes on one foot might still be a top 5 quarterback. I mean, dude was literally hopping to hand the ball off to Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, I thought, I like you, when I saw that injury, I thought that, oh, shit, dude is done. Like, how is he going to come back from that? But he, taped it up. It might be a high ankle sprain from what people were reporting during the game. I don't know if any more news has come out on his injury now that the game is done. Hopefully he's at least 100% good to go, because whoever the Chiefs play next round, they definitely gonna need him. But seeing the Chiefs just do their thing year in and year out, I just going into next year, I mean, regardless, if anybody tries to tell me that the Chiefs are going to be knocked off by anybody, I'm just going to politely just say, fuck off.
Yeah,
I will believe it.
Best quarterback in the league, bro.
It's Tom Brady, New England Patriot territory that they are now in. Only the Patriots and the John Madden-led Raiders had 5 straight conference championship appearances. So he's here. I mean, he is the standard. He is the guy. He might go down in history as the greatest to ever do it once it's all said and done, because not only does he have the talent, like we talk about when comparing like Aaron Rodgers and a Tom Brady with each other, but he is now approaching, like, he's got to get more rings, of course, but he is approaching that level of postseason and team success that Tom Brady had, that allows him to solidify himself as the GOAT in terms of the quarterback debate and rankings. I mean, Travis Kelce is the best tight end to ever walk the face of this earth. With all due respect to Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce just knows how to run a route and catch a football.
14 receptions, 98 yards, 2 TDs.
Unguardable.
Sorry to cut you off.
Unguardable. And no matter, and whoever he's matched up with, he's going to break that first tackle, because you cannot tackle him either. He is a giant. It's fun. It's beautiful football to watch. And my heart just goes out to Duval County and Jacksonville Jaguar fans, because it would have been a very interesting turn of events if Jamal Agnew was able to hold on to that football and not fumble at the 5-yard line. Because if they score right there, they forced a 3 and out on the Chiefs. That defense was playing lights out. For all that was going on in that game, Jacksonville defense showed up, and they forced a 3 and out on that next possession. So that means the Jags would have had the ball down 3 with 4 minutes to go. So that would have been a very interesting outcome if that was the case. But I'm just happy to see, Trevor at least. I mean, I'm a Trevor Lawrence. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence, stan per se. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence hater either. I want to see a guy like that succeed. I want to see as many young quarterbacks, as many superstars in this league as possible to make it, that much more fun. So it's good to see that he definitely, outgrew the stench of Urban Meyer that was left behind, because he might have been.
100%.
I mean, now that we're seeing, what the Jags were able to do this year, I think it's safe to say Urban might have been the worst coach in NFL history, just because of how much he was holding them back. But I think brighter days are ahead for the Jaguars for sure. It was a good game.
Yeah, Ernie, what you got for us, buddy?
Listen, man. I watched that game start to finish, and like many others, when you saw Patrick Mahomes go down, I even having no take in the game, just being a football fan, I was upset because you never want to see that happen, especially to that position. But I had a good feeling the game was over when the once Jaguar legend, Mr. Haney, a lot of Dolphins fans don't want to see that name, but when he drove them down 98 yards to score a touchdown, I said, yeah, no, Jacksonville's in trouble. You can't, the emotion, because someone who plays sports at a high level to this day, when you see another team's best player, although you never want to see that as a competitor, I don't care what they say, the Jacksonville Jaguars were feeling good about themselves when they saw Patrick Mahomes go down.
Yeah.
When they're looking at the corner of their eye, they're seeing he's walking to that locker room out of the blue tent. The vibe on that sideline, on the defense, has to be, okay, this is our time. Like, this is where we go right now. They're on the 2-yard line. They have a backup quarterback in. It's a 3-point ball game at that time, I think. This is our time. And he just marches them down the field. Yep. 98 yards.
Easy.
Not enough can be said about the job that Mr. Haney had to do when he came into the game. But that being said, Patrick Mahomes is a different level, man. Patrick Mahomes is everything that the footwork is terrible, that the decision making is questionable, but you can't argue with the results. The guy has a feel for playing the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. He's immensely talented. I remember Chris Collinsworth, who was on the call yesterday, saying now that Patrick Mahomes is on one foot, he kind of feels what everybody else feels, and that's a sense of mortality. He's no longer immortal. And even then, I think he made one mistake where it was one of those quick read plays where he had to hit someone quick off the line, and he couldn't really step on that right foot. And, the ball kind of bounced to him. After that, like you said, that play where he steps up in the pocket, jumps off the left foot, it's what he does is absolutely insane. And going to the Jaguars aspect of it, if you put that fumble beside Agnew, he might have been the MVP of that game with the big returns that he had. One of them that he almost broke if it wasn't for Buckner getting him down there at the end. Wipe that fumble from your memory, son. I'm looking at the camera. If this is me, a pep talk to you, you wipe that off.
Let him know.
You had a great game. Trevor Lawrence played a phenomenal game. That deep pass, if he connects with Kirk, who knows what happens? What a dime, Bill. That ball was in the air, traveled for 60 yards.
Oh my God. He should have caught that.
You got to catch that ball.
Yeah, you got to catch that.
I think Chris Collinsworth said it was an overthrow. No, you got to.
No, hell no.
You got to catch that ball. You got to catch that ball. But other than that, man, I was actually at the Ravens-Jaguars game in Jacksonville where they beat us going for 2 at the end. And you can just sense a building, and you can just sense a feel for that building and that stadium. Like, the people believe in this team, and now the team believes in themselves. A lot of people forget they're going to have Calvin Ridley coming back next year. Calvin Ridley will be part of that offense now. So that's a whole different, it's a whole different dynamic. Now you got Zay Jones, you got Christian Kirk, who, by the way, a lot of us, including myself, critiqued that offseason signing. Like, that is a lot of money to give a number 2 in Arizona. And, bro, he proved that Zay Jones played unbelievable. I also questioned letting James Robinson go. But, I mean, Travis Etienne has done more than what was expected with that starting role. The pass rush was really well. Yeah, and Hasty as well. Like, the Jaguars have a very bright future. Trevor Lawrence, we didn't really see it with Urban Meyer. We kind of doubted it, but Trevor Lawrence is what we saw. Guys, that loss on Saturday, that was his first loss on a Saturday. He's 34-1 on Saturdays in his collegiate and professional career, which is insane. The guy's a winner. There's going to be a lot of winning in Duval County coming up. But yeah, I guess we'll see the Chiefs in the Chief Invitational next year. Again, at this point.
The Chief Invitational, goddamn.
So
put that shit on a shirt.
Different.
Put that shit on a shirt.
Yeah, it's different, bro.
Damn.
I thought growing up watching Tom Brady, we were gonna have a chance, all those great Ravens Patriot battles, and now we got to deal with it. Now it's the Chiefs' time. It's always something in the AFC, but the AFC, it's going to be a lot of good football to watch in the next few years. It's going to be a lot of fun in the AFC.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Just piggyback of what both of you guys said. I'm gonna start with the Jaguars. Man, a great defensive game by them. Even though that first drive that Patrick Mahomes was going down the field, I was like, wow. This guy plays like this the whole game, it's going to be a long damn day for the Duval County. But Jaguars did their thing on defense, and on offense, they did their thing too. Trevor Lawrence, he threw for 217 yards, 1 TD, and 1 interception. It kind of happens, his first AFC championship. He's going to have those jitters no matter what on 24 completions, though. Now, looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, like, you just got to admire the fact that Andy Reid is such an amazing coach, man. I hated him when he was on the Philadelphia Eagles, bro. Couldn't stand him with LaShawn McCoy, Michael Vick, all those guys back in the day. But dude, like,
McNabb and To even
yeah,
like this
McNabb
man
and
been around for
To
a
even,
hot
yeah,
minute,
yeah, man.
minute.
Is that you got to respect greatness when it's there. Just like how Dolphins fans they gotta or Jets or Bills fans they gotta respect the fact that Tom Brady was so great in
Yep.
those days. So Andy Reid, man, yo, shout out to him because, like Ernie was saying, bro, Chad Henne came in and he looked like a Pro Bowl quarterback going down the field. And they started, again, like Ernie said, they started on the 3rd-yard line, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like you would think that they're going to punt and Jacksonville's going to get the ball back. They're going to go down and score. They're going to have momentum, going into the second half. But no, Chad Henne took it down the field. Patrick Mahomes was even thinking about coming back in. They're like, yo, you know what?
Yeah.
Just keep resting. Let Chad do his thing, and then he does his thing. Gets
Yeah.
Travis Kelce his second touchdown,
Yeah.
and from there it's just history, man. Like great game by both sides. Kansas City, they just come up on top. This is what Kansas City does. Like I mentioned, 5th AFC Championship in a row, and the Chief Invitational. I like
Chief
that.
Invitational, baby. Might as well.
So the night
Get
game.
the ball to 87.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
Facts, man. That's all you really need to do. Get the ball to 87.
And shout out to the Jaguars just on the defensive end. Just their draft picks have just been home run after home run. I mean, you talk about Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd this year, but I mean, guys like Josh Allen and Foyesade Oluokun. I mean, it's just home run after home run. A lot of players on that defense.
Elite. By the way, just to mention it one more time, Travis Kelce had 14 receptions, 98 yards, 2 TDs.
Bro, he had like 10 in like halfway to go in the second quarter.
He
Like,
had 10 in the first half.
I had him on one of my prize picks slips, and it was like 6.5, and I look at it and like, wait, does that say 11? And it was like it was over, and it was like halfway to go in the second quarter. It was crazy.
Shout out to Andy Reid being the first coach to win 10+ playoff games with 2 different teams. So that's tough, bro.
That's a fire
that's
stat,
tough, bro.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah, that's tough for real. Moving on to Andy Reid's old team, the Philadelphia Eagles. They faced against the New York Giants last night. And, bro, before we get into it, man, I got to tell you.
Hold up. The Giants showed up?
That's what I was about to say. I was surprised that the Giants did not show up because I thought it was going to be, like, at least a 1-touchdown game, bro. Like, I thought like New York was gonna come out and be like, you know what, we're gonna come out swinging and we're not gonna go down like no bitches and this and that. But dude, completely wrong. I was completely wrong. The Eagles demolished the Giants 38-7, and what it was an offensive arsenal from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. And Ernie, just start off with you. What was your thoughts on that whole game? How it came
out of the 4 divisional games, if you would have had me on upset alert for one game and you had to like bet my life on it, this would have been the game. This would have been the game where I said, the Giants have a real chance. But no, there was no chance, bro. There was absolutely zero chance. The Eagles came out and did what they did best. They asserted their dominance. I think they ran for 268 yards.
Dude.
Jalen Hurts only had to throw the ball 14 times, threw 2 touchdowns, ran for another 50 yards, ran for another touchdown. The Eagles looked like a well-oiled machine, fine-tuned. They didn't miss a beat. A lot of people are contradictory to the bye. Some teams want to streak into the playoffs. Tom Landry was big on saying that you want to streak into the playoffs. A lot of teams don't feel comfortable with that bye. I think the bye helped out the Eagles. They got as healthy as they could be. Jalen Hurts didn't look 100%, but he definitely didn't look like he was laboring much either. Threw the ball effectively when he had to because he didn't really have to. That game took a weird turn, man. I think it was only 7-0 when the Giants were presented with a 4th and 8, and you decided to go for it. Now, don't get me wrong. Brian Daboll is my Coach of the Year candidate. I think he deserves it. What he's done to turn around that franchise and set that culture is amazing. I think that might have been one of the worst decisions he's ever made.
Yeah, fourth
to
and
go
8.
for it on four. I get it. You're aggressive. You're not supposed to be here. You want to send your team on a message. What you're telling your team is, I don't think we can stop them, honestly. Like, we have to score, and if we don't keep up score, I don't think it was the right message to send. I don't think it was the right play call to play. This is the Daniel Jones problem. Daniel Jones will have games where last week where he was Vanilla Vic and he looks phenomenal. And then he'll have games like he did last night where he just couldn't do anything. The offense looked bad. They looked stagnant. They you can say that the Giants receivers and their offense overachieved all year. And they came to fruition in this division round because the Eagles just woke up and they were just the better team. The Eagles were the better team. They're the better franchise at the moment. This was a complete and utter show of force. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, it was a crazy turn of events for sure. Austin, what you got for us?
I think the most impressive aspect of this game was the Eagles' offensive line. Just like replay after replay that was shown on that broadcast, you saw Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, and Mailata just manhandling folks. And I was told going into this game that Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams were going to get pressure up the middle on this Philadelphia Eagles team.
Best pass rushing duo right there.
I think it was maybe like second or third quarter. They showed a replay of Jason Kelsey one-arming Dexter Lawrence and tossing him aside like a used sweat towel at the gym. I mean, it was disrespectful what the Eagles' offensive line was doing to that defensive front. And I like you guys, I thought the Giants were going to make this a game just because of how Saquon was just playing like a man possessed this entire season. Great to see Saquon back at it. The league is a better place when he is healthy and when he is acting like one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL, which he is when healthy. And just it goes back to the biggest debate with this Giants team since drafting Danny Dimes at number 6 is he the guy? It's tough to say. I think that definitely it's the main argument, the most valid argument that you can make for Daniel Jones is who the hell are you going to replace him with if you let him go? Who's going to be better in that position? I mean, this was definitely the biggest season that he had in terms of growth by far. And that was with a underachieving receiving core. I mean, they paid Kenny Galladay $124 million just to live in New York. I mean, they got guys like Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James, like playing wide receiver and putting in some good stats for him. And it's just like the Philadelphia Eagles are, if they have Lane Johnson and Jalen Hurts at 100% health, I just don't see how you can stop this offense. I really don't. Because if you focus on the run, all right, good luck playing one-on-one with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. If you want to focus on the passing game, okay, good luck trying to get pressure on this offensive line with 4 to 6 guys and letting Jalen Hurts get some open rushing lanes. It's just an impossible offense to game plan for when they're fully healthy. And if we are blessed enough to see a Chiefs versus Eagles Super Bowl, I just think that is gonna that could be. Hey, listen. I just don't see how anybody can beat this team at full health. I mean, those 2 NFC teams that have left, the 49ers and the Cowboys, they got 2 hell of a squad. Both of them got some good rosters. It's just like it's the same thing with my overview of the Chiefs after last night's game. It's just like I can't believe it until I see it. And it's just like if I see a fully healthy Eagles team, the proof has been on display throughout this entire season. It's just like there are just so many parts of their team that you have to game plan for. It's just like overwhelming for a defense. It was definitely overwhelming for the Giants. I mean, the 2 NFC teams that are left got two defenses that play with the hair on fire, and that'll be a hell of a game. For the NFC Championship, regardless of who was able to come out. I think it's the Cowboys. But I think that the Eagles really showed who they were, and I think the biggest takeaway was their offensive line is the best in football, and it might be a substantial margin that gap has grown to.
Yeah. As a Cowboys fan, I don't like either teams, the Giants or the Eagles. But if I wanted a better chance of winning and going and moving on, I'm not gonna even say the Super Bowl because we still got the 49ers tonight. But if I was playing either of them, I would have picked the Giants, of course, because the Eagles, like you mentioned, they're just spectacular, bro. From defense to offensive line, defensive line, even special teams. Like their special teams is nasty too. Like their team is too legit to quit. And I think it all starts with the main man, Jalen Hurts. He has shown each and every year he's gotten smarter. His work ethic is like unattainable. He just goes out and grinds each and every day. And this guy, I saw a TikTok of him the other day saying a speech before the game, the Week 18 game, and he was basically saying he's like, "Yo, I'm too damn hungry for this. Like, no matter what I say, like nothing I should say should amp you up. Like, you should be feeling the same way I'm feeling. Like, you just want to win." And be on top of the world. And bro, that mentality, bro. If you have 50, well, I'm gonna just throw a number out there of how many people they have on the roster. But if you put 55 people with that same mentality that he has, bro, that's just like that's the elements for success. Like you're not gonna fail no matter what. You're not gonna fail, and it's again, I don't want to be saying this, but the Eagles, bro, they're the best team in football right now. Overall, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to give them a run for their money if they do face each other in the Super Bowl, but it's going to be a hell of a game because both teams are elite, and I just think the Eagles' defense is a little better than the Chiefs, but the Eagles are playing phenomenal right now.
Nick Sirianni's a dog. Shout out Pat McAfee, a dog.
Yeah, dog.
A dog.
It's just like I see so many similarities in Jalen Hurts and a guy like who Joe Burrow is, or who Tom Brady is, like how they carry themselves. It's just like that cool. It's that cool, calm collectedness at all times, like from a midweek press conference to halftime of the damn NFC playoffs. It's just like they only know one speed, and that's forward, and that's at 100 miles an hour because they're confident in who they are as players because of the work that they put in. And that's all Jalen Hurts talks about, is just putting in that work and just staying silent and hungry. And it's just like it's like that lion type of mentality. Like you just stalk your prey in the grass, and just like that once that time comes, that it's curtains for whoever your opponent is.
Yeah, he was famous for even when his Oklahoma days, like working out and squatting after games. Like, who does that? Like, the guy's insane.
Crazy.
But Jalen, he's been there before national championship games. He's been benched for a national championship game. He's transferred schools. He's won a Heisman. Or he's been runner up. Like, he's been successful wherever he goes. Success follows him, and that goes to what you guys say, work ethic. No, he is the hardest worker in the room, in whatever room he's in. Yeah, for sure.
That's a perfect example of how to lead as a leader, bro. Like you just you gotta talk that talk and walk that walk, and that's what he.
That type of energy is infectious. I mean, a lot of guys who were on the Bucs before Tom Brady got there talked about that. I mean, it's like down to the training staff. If the leader of your team is is the type of character that a guy like that is, then it bleeds into every single aspect of your organization, and it just holds everybody to a higher standard because they walk into that building and see the leader, the quarterback of the team, with that type of mentality, putting in that type of work, having that type of just being a good dude overall. Like on top of that can't be overlooked. Just like everybody loves being around the guy. Like he's just a cool ass guy to be around in the facility. And it's just like you wanna put your put your body on the line and go out 110% for a guy like that if he is your leader. So that's definitely like one of the more one of the scariest aspects about this Eagles team is just how like tight knit they are because It's Sirianni, it's Jalen Hurts, like all their leaders just have that type of a mentality and that dog in them. You know what I mean?
No. All
Steve
right. So
Bisciotti, Eric DaCosta, take notes about Jeffrey Loria. Please.
That
Thank you.
ass, bro. The blueprint. The blueprint.
Please. And Howie Roseman. Shout out to both of them, man. Hell of an owner.
all right, so we got the next two divisional games setting off today at 4:30, the Bengals versus Bills, and at 8:15, the Cowboys versus 49ers. So just coming down to the wire, we're coming down to the end here. Get some predictions out of you guys. Bengals versus Bills. Austin, who you got? And why? And why?
This is definitely the toughest one of the weekend for me. I believe the line opened up at 3.5 in favor of the Buffalo Bills, and it's now up to 5.5. I think what that means is the Bengals are going to cover. Why that is because I personally think, and this is a horrible way to look at it, but I really think the Damar Hamlin situation may have put more pressure on Josh Allen. And that was very evident last week when he started making mistakes and when he threw those interceptions. You could tell that he was forcing it a lot. And he realized that, like, oh shit, if I don't win this game for my team and put this city on my back like I'm supposed to, then what is this season even for? It doesn't mean anything anymore. And it's just like, you got a guy on the other side like Joe Burrow and with those types of weapons, like unless the Bills front four is able to get pressure on this offensive line, which is definitely possible. But even then, like, Burrow has been sacked more than any other quarterback throughout the first few games of the postseason in NFL history. Like, that doesn't matter to him. He still made the Super Bowl last year. He's still on a run this year, and it's just like I really think that the way Josh Allen has been playing over the past few weeks is going to give Joe Burrow and this offense opportunities to get the Bengals a victory. And we're going to see a rematch of the AFC Championship last year. Bengals and Chiefs.
Okay. Ernie, what you think?
So like Austin said, when the lines opened up at -3 for the Bills, you usually get that when you're a home team in the playoffs. You get the -3 off bat for being the home team. I think that 2.5, because now I think he mentioned it's up to 5. I think that has to do a lot with the Bengals losing yet another starter on the offensive line. I think they've lost a starter on the offensive line the last 3 games they've played. They've lost a quality starter on that line. How big of an impact? I mean, Von Miller's not there, so I don't think it impacts them as much as it would against another opponent. Ed Oliver has to step up. I think Gregory Rousseau and Ed Oliver have to have the game of their lives in order to advance here. With all that being said, I don't see the Bills losing at home. I think last week's game against the Dolphins, it's hard to beat a team 3 times, a divisional opponent. They know the ins and outs of each other. Skylar Thompson, obviously, I don't want to say the Bills played down to the competition, but as competitors, when you look across the sheet and you see Skylar Thompson starting, I don't know how high you get for that game. I don't know how much you get up knowing you're the better team. So I think that the Bills win this game. I think that the Bills and the Chiefs will play in Atlanta next week at a neutral site. And if you give me a prediction for a score, I'm probably going to give you Buffalo 27, Cincinnati 24. So I think it's a field goal game. Tyler Bass wins it at the end.
Nice. I need that Tyler Bass. I need 2 field goals with Tyler Bass. Price pick, baby.
My score prediction, I'm going to go 35-27.
Oof. Okay. High score. Okay. I like that.
27.
I gotta go with Ernie here, but I do like the Bengals because Joey B, obviously, Jamar Chase is doing his thing like always, and their defense is actually one of the, I wouldn't say top defenses, but they're up there. They're up there.
In terms of second half adjustments, they right up there with the best.
Yeah. They know how to. Yes, exactly. They know how to
second
fix
half
things.
Defense, they're right there with the 49ers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only thing I give the Bills is that they've been wanting this for so long, man, and it's just they've been a top team for the last 3-4 years with Josh Allen there, and then obviously when Stephon Diggs came over, I just think that they're gonna want it more right now. Playing at home is another advantage as well, I think Josh Allen is going to be slinging it. He'll probably throw for 250 plus. Stephon Diggs is going to get a touchdown with maybe 80 yards around there. Gabriel Davis, maybe another touchdown with like 50 yards. And then it's going to come down to their defense because obviously they lose Von Miller weeks ago. And he was the top dog of their defense in leadership wise and obviously on the defensive line, putting pressure on the quarterbacks and letting his other defensive linemen actually getting the sacks. It's going to come down to their defense 100%. I think it is going to be a high scoring game. I'll give the Bills the 28 and Bengals 20. But yeah, I think the Bills come out on top of this one. And for the next game, the Cowboys and Niners.
I wonder who you got, huh? Yeah.
Let's start with you, George. How we feeling?
Let's start with you. Let's see what you got.
How we feeling? All
right, but to my fanboy, for sure, I'm picking the Cowboys, baby. You know we got to come out and get this damn dub, baby. Come on. We got to go to NFC Championship. But being an analyst, that Niners defense is going to be insane, bro. And just like our defense on theirs is going to be good as well, but I think the Niners is going to be a better defense against us. Just because, like I alluded to last week, this game is going to fall on Dak once again because our defense is going to show up. They're going to show out. Michael Parsons literally said he wanted the San Francisco 49ers. He wanted this game. He's going to come out. He's going to show out 100%. That defense is going to do work. There's nothing questionable about that. What is questionable is the way that Dak is going to play because I think Dak is considered a top 15 quarterback for sure. It's just there's sometimes when he gets pressure, and he will get pressure from Nick Bosa. He will get pressure from the defensive line. The linebackers are going to be coming at him as well. They're going to be playing probably a 4-4, 4-3 defense. It's going to be tough for him. He's going to get that pressure. And when he does get pressure, he intends to force the ball into tight windows that he doesn't need to do, and he could just throw away the fucking rock.
Yeah.
It gets frustrated. So I think it's going to come down to that. I'm going to have the Cowboys winning for sure. I'm not going to say that the Niners are going to win, but
like that.
It all comes down to Dak and how he's going to play on the offensive side of the ball. Ernie, let me hear from you, buddy.
Man. So this comes down to, I think you alluded to it, which you did towards the end of your beautiful soliloquy. What Dak are we getting? Are we getting the Dak who missed 5 games and was tied for the league in interceptions? Or are we getting the Dak who arguably played the best game a Cowboy quarterback has ever played in the postseason last week? The 49ers, I think when it comes down to it's a tale of two defenses. I think it's finesse versus physical. I think the Cowboys have a very finesse defense. They'll take the ball away. They'll make timely interceptions, timely strip sacks, fumbles. Whereas the 49ers, they just want to get up in your face and they want to smash mouth you. The one deficiency that the Cowboys defense had this year was against the run. What the 49ers do better than any team in the NFL, well, with the exception of the Eagles, is run the football in a physical style of manner, whether it's McCaffrey, whether it's Debo, whether it's Elijah, whoever's lined up in the backfield. This time, this game is on the road for Dallas, and I think that this time the road team once again prevails. So believe it or not, I do have the Cowboys winning this game. I do think that there's going to be a moment or two where the spotlight gets too bright for Brock Purdy. I think that's what it comes down to at the end. You do have an inconsistent Dak, but you also have a quarterback in Brock Purdy who hasn't been there. I'm interested to see in a situation in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left where the 49ers have the ball and they're down 10. Can Brock Purdy lead a scoring drive, trust that his defense gets a stop, and then come back and score again? You know, he hasn't been put in that position, and that's at no fault to him. I'm not critiquing him for not having to do that. I just don't know if he can do that. The higher you go in the playoffs, the more stiff the competition gets. I think these two teams know each other well. Like you said, the Cowboys won the Niners. And I think that the Cowboys find a way to get revenge on the road and pull it out. I have a low-scoring game. I think the Cowboys win 23-17.
Nice.
And I hope I'm wrong because I can't stand Cowboy fans. No offense, George. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't know, man. I feel like the Cowboys are they're ready, man. They're ready.
Yeah, I mean, they do look ready. Their whole team. It's just like I said, Dak. Austin, what you got, man?
I know it's a jinx, but it fall if everybody's unanimous on the panel. But I think I got to go with the Cowboys too, man. I think I got to go with the Cowboys too, man. What I saw last week, granted, it was against the Bucs, who stink this year. Yeah. Let's not get it twisted. The Buccaneers were absolute dog shit this year.
Yeah,
so
we're bad.
Like Dak played his ass off in that game, man, and like I really think that what it came down to for me in this decision was the fact that the Cowboys got this game on the road and not in Dallas. I think there's a different kind of pressure on the boys when it's in Jerry World, especially in the playoffs. I mean, like, I really think that, like, Dak feels the weight of that fan base on his shoulders so much more in Dallas than he does on the road. Like, I think this defense travels on the road as well. I mean, like, you know, everybody talks about them being a, finesse type defense because they got fast dudes on the defensive side of the ball, but they will hit you too. Yeah. I mean, they was hitting last week.
Hell yeah.
Against the Buccaneers. And I mean, all three of their safeties lay the wood. I mean, their entire defensive line is not only gonna, knock the wind out of you, but they're gonna talk shit to you when as they're doing it. And I love that type of defense going up against a offense like the 49ers, especially going against a rookie quarterback like Brock Purdy. I think that if they are able to get pressure on him early, which I think they're going to send the house early on Brock early and often. And if they're able to, just mess with them just a little bit, I think that plays right into their hands. It's going to, like you said, George, it's going to fall on the shoulders of Dakota. And if that man is able to play like he did last year, then I think the Cowboys could win this one by a score or two. But the 49ers ain't going to go quietly. They got speed. They hit too. And where Dak was successful last week was using his legs, whether it was the design run for the touchdown or scrambling. He was effective using his legs, and that definitely bust the game open for the Cowboys late against the Buccaneers. I think CD has a very favorable matchup against his secondary. Look for T.Y. Hilton to break off a nice baby. Little right?
FIU.
Look him to break off. I could see him doing like a 50-yard vertical. To get a first down on a much-needed third conversion in like the third or fourth quarter. I see that happening, something like that. But
I love this energy. Keep it.
I hope it goes back and forth. I hope we see an offensive game going back and forth. Like get McCaffrey, get Debo an end zone. Trip along with like Tony Pollard, the CD getting a couple scores. I hope this game goes back and forth, but in the end, I think it will be a defensive struggle with a few late game scores. So give me Cowboys 27-24.
Okay, I like that. A little field goal there.
27-24. Yeah.
And Brett's making the field goal to win it?
Jesus Christ. Can we talk about that? Wait. Hold on.
Brett is making the field goal to
win it. Before we end this, can we talk about
that was
how
wild,
the hell he missed 4 extra points in a row, bro? He was shaving.
That has to be mental. It has to be mental.
Bro, that's Paul Crew from the longest yard. That's Paul Crew.
100%.
That is mental. Like, I after seeing one, I think after that second one, it becomes now it's like when you trot out to that field, it's please don't miss this third one. God, please don't miss this third one. And look, to his credit, he missed 4 in a row. He came back and he hit the 5th. The game was a blowout, so I mean, it was nice to see the CD and Dak come up to him, coddle him, be like, it's all good. You've helped us. We got your back. That's
dude was money all season. Like,
he was money.
He was one of the best kickers in the league all season.
That's why I think he was shaving.
Won a few games. I mean, he beat the Bengals with his leg. He beat the Bengals. Like, he had a few game-winning kicks. But just watching that game made me happy that we have Justin Tucker in our lives. Watching a performance like
Best
that.
Kicker.
Made me happy.
Best kicker ever.
Yeah, made me happy.
He didn't have a great year this year, but
He missed 3. He missed a lot.
even a blind squirrel finds a nut every so often.
Yeah, there you go.
It was just a downward hill season for you guys, and you still made the playoffs.
This is just a weird year, man. Weird year.
But yeah, I hope Brett overcomes. It would be poetic if Brett won the game on a field goal.
Hell yeah. Talk hella shit. I'll talk hella
Talk
shit.
about a character arc.
Hey man, let's do some plugins before we get out of here. Austin, you got any plugins for yourself, man?
Nah, I'm all good, bro. Appreciate it.
Good, you good, Ernie?
You know me, man. It's always a pleasure to be here, but I'm good, bro. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. People at the crib watching, listening. You know where you can follow me on Twitter at GeorgeMike Perez, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at GMike_Media_. The podcast itself, the audio version, is available on all podcast platforms under the G Perspective and obviously on YouTube. Guys, thank you guys for coming on. This was awesome. We went a good hour and plus. So for sure, we had good content.
Talk ball, baby. Gotta love it.
Now, I'm gonna get you guys back on soon. Hopefully in a few weeks, maybe even before or after Super Bowl. We'll see what's up. We'll see what's cooking.
See what's up.
But I appreciate you guys, man. I thank you guys for giving me your time, bro.
Awesome.
Always,
Thank
bro.
you.